Welcome to the Ox Sports Unleashed podcast review of Oxfordshire's football over the weekend of the 25th and 26th of October. I'm Connie Ryde. Time to welcome my guest, Patrick Lock. And Patrick, while Oxford United just about bagged 3 points away at bottom club Sheffield Wednesday, and the Hoops men got a point at home to Bideford. Sunday, though, saw the Oxford City women triumph and put, I think, some of our men's teams to shame with a fantastic FA Cup performance. 4-2 at home to Sherborne they won. Brilliant, wasn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, like you say, the men's sides haven't really given as much a shout about it in recent weeks, have they? Yeah, it was a historic day on Sunday. Oxford City playing in the FA Cup first round proper for the first time in 15 years. And they played Sherborne Town, a team who are at the same level as them. And City have created more history by reaching the second round proper of the Women's FA Cup for just the second time in their history. So a really good result for them there. They won 4-2, as you said. It was a dream start. Yasmin Edwards gave them the lead after just 3 minutes. Kate Parsons then doubled the lead after 20 minutes, give them a dream start. Sherborne got a goal back within a minute of the second, so got pegged back immediately. But right on the stroke of half-time, Ellie White scored to give them the 2-goal cushion back. As we often see, especially in cup games, Sherborne did half the deficit with 15 minutes to play to set up a bit of a tense end. A bit of the opposite to how their game in the first round against Thame United went, where City were trailing 1 goal going into the last few minutes. But thankfully, it wasn't a reverse repeat, and City actually scored again in added time to make it 4-2 through Amy Leach. So a really good win, and there's a 695 people at the ground as well. So a really good crowd, and absolutely smashed the record attendance again this week after they broke it against Thame United. So really good result for City's women, and see who they get in the next round.
All right, contrasting results, though, for Oxford City men's Saturday, Patrick. A point at home didn't dent their dismal league position. Plus, the referee's decisions didn't actually do much for your blood pressure, did it?
No, it was looking so good for City as well. Played well against Leamington and were causing them all sorts of issues. City looked the best side throughout, but in the first half, neither team really had a particularly clear-cut chance until the 45th minute, really, when Ewan Clark put Tom Scott through one-on-one with the keeper, but one of the Leamington centre-backs pulled him back last man. So the referee did see it and sent the defender off rightfully. So Leamington had 10 men for the second half, and as I'm sure you can imagine, City were banging on the door throughout the half. The goalkeeper was in inspired form. He made a couple of 2 or 3 really good saves, and City did eventually get themselves ahead with about 15 minutes to play through Josh Ashby from a really tight angle. But City looked like they were going to see it out and had a few chances to make it more than one. But into added time, and how many times do you see it, especially with City this year? There's a few times where City have conceded goals late on. A slightly controversial one in that the keeper got 2 hands onto it, and it kind of the ball got knocked out of his hands, and the referee played on. The City players surrounding the referee, protesting, wanting a foul, but the goal stood, and it was a real hammer blow for City, who would have been an important win because it would have taken them just a point behind Leamington. So 2 points lost also means 2 points gained for Leamington, so there's now 4 points again. To be fair to the referee, I've seen some pictures of it today, and it looks like it was a City man whose head knocked the ball out of the keeper's hands, and there was potential talk about whether a Leamington man had caused the City man to knock it out of the hands. But to be totally honest, looking at the pictures, I think I can't really see where a foul would have come from. We can feel aggrieved, as obviously we always will in a situation like that, but the referee may got it right, I have to say.
Okay, so the bright spot on the otherwise quite dismal horizon for Oxford City, though, is that last week we heard an interview from Josh Ashby with Andy Gates, and he was saying the goal was going to come for you, isn't it? He'd been hitting the woodwork, hadn't he, Josh? But he did actually get it in the back of the net this Saturday, didn't he, Patrick?
Yeah, it was a really good finish. I still don't really understand how he did it. It was from a really tight angle, and I think he basically nutmegged the goalkeeper from that said angle. And I mean, I had the best view in the house of it, actually, because I was literally behind the goal in the exact spot where he took the shot from. So yeah, really good finish. Sure, he'd have given that goal back to make sure his team got all 3 points.
You're listening to an Ox Sports Unleashed podcast review of last weekend's football action in Oxfordshire with Colin Ryde and Patrick Lock. If you'd like your club to feature in this podcast or our YouTube show that live streams every Thursday at 8, then drop us a line at oxsportsunleashed. That's all one word, oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. No league game Saturday for Banbury United, and a fall off in league form has seen them drop to 18th in the Southern League Premier Central, one above the dreaded drop zone, but with 2, sometimes even 3 games in hand over teams above and below them. They do need to pick up points, and the FA Trophy defeat Sunday, I think it was, wasn't it? Won't do them any good either, will it, Patrick?
No, yeah, they played on Sunday this week, as you said. Bracknell Town, who they were playing, is a ground share with Sandhurst Town, I believe. So I'm guessing Sandhurst were at home on Saturday as their league fixture. So that game had to be pushed to Sunday. Yeah, it was an interesting fixture, really, because Bracknell have been struggling. They're bottom of the league they're in at the moment, but they sacked their manager in the week, so there's obviously been a bit of a bounce there, and they came out 1-0 winners against Banbury United. A goal just after half time saw them progress there. Well, Banbury's FA Cup campaign ended. And like you say, yeah, it's been a tough run of games, hasn't it, since they played in the FA Cup a few weeks ago. I mean, we all know how much an FA Cup run can take it out of you, especially if you've got a replay here and there. And yeah, they started the season so brightly as well. They'd won, I can't remember the exact numbers, but they'd won quite a lot of their opening games and were kind of in and around the playoff positions. But yeah, they've dropped off a little bit. But I think now that they're probably out of both cup competitions, it's maybe one of those, probably a little bit of a cliche, that they can concentrate on the league a bit more now. They'll get their games in hand out the way, and hopefully they can concentrate on the league. The tired leg go out of them, and then they can pick up results again.
Yeah, we've seen before with Thame United and with Didcot Town how a couple of wins can shoot you up the table. And speaking of Didcot Town, they are back home at the weekend from the Cornish travels last weekend. That saw them go down to Falmouth and get a result down there. This time they're at home against a bit of a town, with the Rowan picking up a point in a goalless draw, Patrick.
Yeah, obviously it was a really good result for them last week, wasn't it, on probably their longest trip of the season. And yeah, it was a goalless draw, which obviously meant that Owen James's goal-scoring run ended. He'd scored in about 9 or 10 games in a row, I think, for Didcot. But yeah, a good result against a side who was also in good form. Jamie Heapy, when he spoke after the game, he thought his team probably did enough to find a winner. It sounded like quite an open game, but he overall saw the positives. He spoke to Didcot's Daz King at full time.
I just said to him in there, we've got to be clinical, haven't we? You take your chances when you're on top. All them cliches, all them sayings, but you got to. And I mean, we had some great chances first half, but ultimately it's not putting the ball in the net, I suppose, and we didn't quite manage that today. Even second half we had some chances, and then as we know, the longer it goes on, you're thinking, and they got into the game a little bit more, didn't they? And then it was a bit end to end, bit open. It was quite open in the second half towards the end, but listen, there's plenty of positives. There's plenty of clean sheet again, defended well. But they work hard like they always do. We just got to be. We just weren't quite. It weren't quite happening. No. That final.
You got a little bit scrappy at times.
Yeah. And little ricochets and little blocks and little last minute little touches, and we just didn't quite fall for us. But it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It happens. That's just
you see it in games sometimes, don't we? You think we'll not score if we play for a week. And I say that you took at the positives. A month ago we'd have probably lost.
We probably would have.
When they got the corner in injury.
I know. And you think, oh, here we go. Yeah, we've seen it so many times.
But I thought we defended well.
Yeah, we did.
We did. Dealt with a lot at back, didn't we?
Yeah, because they got a long throw. They're quite competitive, aren't they? And they're physical, and they, Sean's no mug, like I said before. He's got a good team there. And you can see they're all in for him, aren't they? You know what I mean? They want to work, and they've travelled a long way, and it's just two honest teams, really, wasn't it? And no, we're disappointed because we felt on the balance of play we probably should have got 3 points, but you don't always get what you deserve, and that's life, isn't it? So, but listen, we dust ourselves down, recover, and Tuesday night we got another one now, really, at home. So No, it's a point. It's a clean sheet. It's another game unbeaten. So just keep going, mate.
Plenty of positives.
Yeah, there was, mate. There was, and we just got to. On another day, it could have been completely different, but it wasn't, and we move on. And good crowd in again today, and on a cold day, bitter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But fair play to both teams. Both put big shifts in, didn't they? So both clean sheets, but I felt if we'd have got one, we probably would have gone on and won the game 2 or 3.
Thanks very much there to the Didcot Town media team, Jamie Heapy and Daz King there for that very honest chat. Always like listening to Jamie Heapy about on another day. They may well have got goals, but 0-0. They'll take a point, I think, at home. Meanwhile, Thame United were on their travels, Patrick, adding another 3 points to their Division 1 central total and mid-table respectability, Patrick.
I mean, they've been in a great run of form, and they did lose last week, but to a Hitchin Town team who are fighting at the top of the league, so no disgrace in that result. But they got back to winning ways quickly. They beat Biggleswade FC. It was just by the one goal, Greg Hackett scoring 15 minutes from time to see them back to winning 3 points. Yeah, I mean, they're similar to Didcot in that they lost all 4 of their first games of the season, so they were bottom of the league, pointless after then. But since then, they've won 5, drawn 1, lost the other one of their next 7 games. So good run of form, which sees them back into the top half of the table. And mentioning Didcot Town, I'll just have a quick look at just a quick reminder of the table there. And I mean, it's ridiculously tight at the bottom of that league as well, where their draw did see them drop back into the relegation zone, but it's so tight there that there's 10 teams above them that are within 3 points. So one win next week could see them fly up the table again. It's a really interesting league, and there's so many leagues now that just seem to be like that, where teams are so tightly fought. So one result here and there can really change the table.
Don't you just love non-league football though? Because there are no sort of. I mean, it's same. It's great. You turn up right, and you don't know really. It's the feeling like cup games every time, isn't it? You could beat any team, couldn't you? They have an off day, and you only have 2 or 3 players have had a bad week at work because they're all part-time players, and then you can put one over a top team, can't you, Patrick?
Oh, absolutely. And we always joke at Oxford City that we always tend to do well. We always tend to do better against the sides at the top of the table than we do against sides lower down in the table. And I mean, that probably rings true of the last few weeks. And City played really well and got I'd say well-deserved point against Chorley, and probably should have been all 3 at Chorley, who were a team fighting for the playoff positions at the time. And then all of a sudden you play 3 teams who are down kind of around City in Southport, Bedford and Leamington. I mean, Southport were rock bottom, and Bedford, beating Bedford and Leamington would have seen City above them. And City haven't really played particularly well in any of those games, and have ended up taking 1 point from those games, which potentially really should have been seeing at least 6 or 7 points taken off them. So yeah, it's a remarkable sport, football, isn't it? And if football went to form all the time, it wouldn't be so entertaining, would it?
No, it certainly wouldn't. Okay, Patrick, can you round up the rest of the local weekend football action, please, Patrick?
We'll start with combined counties, as we always do. And Ardley United have gone 1 point off the top of the league in the combined counties north with a thumping 4-0 win against Virginia Water. It was 4 different scorers on the score sheet. Ruben Harry, George Calmedo, Jimmy Caseburn, Harry Bailey all scored in the first half for Ardley. So a really lightning start for Ardley there. No goals in the second half, but didn't really need to, with the game pretty much done and dusted after 45 minutes. So they're sat in second, just 1 point off the lead. So it's looking really good for Ardley at this stage of the season. It's also looking good for Wallingford and Crowmarsh, and they came from behind to keep up their fine form and another win. After going behind, James Williams levelled on the stroke of half-time, with Aidan Hicks giving them the lead about 20 minutes into the second half. It's a really dramatic end, though. North Greenford United levelled the scores in the 96th minute, looking like they'd taken a point from the game. But in the 8th added minute, Tyler De Cruz restored Wallingford and Crowmarsh's lead, and it's a really dramatic win for them there to keep up their playoff push. Kidlington, they rescued a point with a 84th minute Michael Hopkins goal away at Edgware in Kingsbury, while Abingdon United also shared the spoils with Windsor and Eton. That finished 2-2 with Leo Cole and Freddie Dunham on target for Abingdon. Northley have been in good form in recent times, but they lost out 3-2 at Harefield United this weekend. United Counties League, and it's just Easington Sports as always in that division. They've had a really tough season, and it continued, unfortunately, as they lost 3-0 at home to Northampton on ON Chenocks. Obviously a really good name that we see quite a lot with Easington Sports. It's a Lewis Irwin hat-trick that did the damage for Easington there. Quick look at Hellenic Division 1, and there wasn't really much action this week. Oxfordshire Town, they struck 5 again as they beat Wellington. Matthew Cheetham, he's headlined that with scoring twice for them in that big win. Just 2 other games though, and it was sadly defeats for our sides. Thame United reserves lost out 1-0 to Bewdley Town, while Clanfield were defeated 3-0 by Stonehouse Town. Looking at Sunday in Women's FA Cup, I mean, obviously we've already heard about Oxford City's progression. Elsewhere in that competition, Oxford United needed penalties to book their place in the next round of the Women's FA Cup. It was 1-1 after 90 minutes against #United, which was the same scoreline as their league game just a couple of weeks ago. So obviously 2 very tightly fought teams there, but the U's won 5-4 from the spot to join City in the second round, in the hat for the second round there. But unfortunately, Abingdon United won't be joining the 2 teams. Their run ended as they were defeated 4-1 on the road by Worthing. And that is what happened this weekend, Colin.
Okay, time for Fixture Focus, Patrick. What have local football fans got to look forward to this coming weekend?
Yeah, so a lot of league action again this weekend with a few cup breaks, but Oxford United, they're back at the Kassam Stadium. They host Millwall at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Oxford City, they're at home as well as they host Bedford Town in a very hastily rearranged game due to FA Cup action. And obviously City played Bedford away just a week and a half ago. So that'll be an interesting game with both teams pretty much in the same form that they were in a couple of weeks ago. And obviously Ross Jenkins' men desperately needing to find a win to get their season back on track. And will obviously be wanting to get one over on Bedford after being defeated by them just a couple of weeks ago. Banbury United, they're on the road in the Southern League Premier Central. They head in towards Suffolk as they head to Bury Town, looking to get 3 points on the board there. Thame United, they're at home. Beaconsfield Town are there visiting in Southern League Division 1 Central. Well, in the Division 1 South, Didcot Town are at home again. They host Sporting Club Inkbarrow in that division. So another team which has got a vaguely interesting name. Looking at Sunday, Oxford United, they host Watford at Court Place Farm in Women's National League South. Abingdon United are on the road. They got a vaguely short trip to Maidenhead United in Division 1 South West. Well, Oxford City haven't had much league action yet this year, and that continues as they travel to play Wycombe Wanderers in the Southern Region Women's Football League Cup on Sunday. So that is what is coming up for our football fans this weekend.
Well, that's it for this week's Ox Sports Unleashed podcast review of Oxfordshire's football with Colin Ryde and Patrick Lott. If you'd like your club to feature on this podcast or on our YouTube show that live streams every Thursday at 8 o'clock, then drop us a line at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed, all one word, @gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening, and bye for now.